Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about 1983, Season 1, Episode 2. It's called Rollback. So, full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, this is very much, just to put this at the start of this was very much what do I call this? I don't want to call it a final chance. That feels a bit harsh, but it was very much. We weren't sure about episode 1. We wanted to give it another chance with episode 2 and see how we felt before we decided to move forward with the show or not. There was potential in the first episode. I liked it a bit more than Connor did, but neither of us were super enthusiastic about it. But we wanted to watch episode 2 and sort of see how we felt after that, because we can make more of a confident call, I think, after 2 episodes.
Yeah, and this is a little bit later than intended due to some other shows happening that we misscheduled.
You say misscheduled. I'm convinced Sci-Fi moved things forward a week, but that's
They may well have
it's
done.
fine. Yes, but regardless, we're here now, and we're going to talk about Rollback, the second episode. And I hate to start off on a negative foot, but and Connor knows this, but I fell asleep 3 times trying to watch this episode, which is not a great sign. Once is not a bad thing, because once is just you were tired when you tried to watch it.
Especially something with subtitles.
Yeah, I have fallen asleep during many a good movie or TV show, and especially with subtitles. If you're tired and you're reading subtitles in the dark, it will knock you out. Falling asleep 3 times during the same thing, though, that's signs of a problem.
Yeah, when it's only 45 minutes long. I don't know, I can't remember, maybe 50.
It's signs of a problem, and I definitely liked this less than the first episode. And I was more positive than you, but I wasn't exactly glowing either. This episode, I thought very little actually happened or advanced.
There's a lot of exposition, which is just really boring to just have exposition.
There's a lot of exposition. And it's one of those things where I think almost watching a subtitled foreign film or TV show, it almost helps highlight when there's too much of something like that, because you realise how much of it is when you're reading it all. And you're like, wait, this isn't smart dialogue, it's just telling me these things over and over again, or it's just, it's even more obvious in subtitles. And so that was a problem. And I mean, they dropped some things on us, because we got the tease that Effie and Kayatin were childhood friends, possibly even related. The way I thought they were related until she actually met him in present day, and his reaction wasn't, "Oh, this is my sister." His reaction was just, "Oh, Effie, it's you. I've not seen you in a long time."
Yeah, which I don't really like this. It feels like, well, we need to have them connected, just as a plot point.
See, I don't mind it. This is the thing, though. Remember how we said last episode there should have been a thing at the end? It was the hook. This should have been the hook. That she finds out she's a new inside person, and she's like, "No, I've got someone I think I can convince." And then she pulls out my best friend's sort of deeply integrated, and then she shows up at his door or something like that. And that's how you reveal it, and you make it a point of no, they always knew each other. And this is kind of what we didn't know in the first episode.
Yeah, I think putting it in the second episode makes it feel a bit messier. Even if it had been at the end of the first, like you say, I think it's just like, okay, no, that's just the setup.
Yeah. So I don't mind them knowing each other. I think it was a very uninteresting scene, because they're going through files and they get to him, and then she has a flashback about knowing him as a kid, and then comes back to present day again, and she explains, "No, I think we can convince him. He doesn't know the real Poland. I'll show him the real Poland, and he'll be convinced." It was by far the least interesting way to reveal this information. I have no problem with what it's revealing. I have a problem with how it's executed, and how it takes 15-20 minutes and it's not even like the meeting between them is actually that interesting.
No, it's just like, oh, hey.
It's a bit of small talk, and she invites him to a party, and that's the extent of it.
Pretty much.
And that's it. So, because arguably that's the biggest thing that gets dropped in this episode from a mythology point of view.
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Because Kayatin goes to the records to try and research the people in the photo, and he finds they've all been taken away from the library. So yeah, okay, they've been redacted by someone, right? Fine. And the librarians, because I actually thought it was kind of weird when she was talking about all our library cards and stuff, and I thought, it's 2003, surely people have switched by then. And then 2 seconds later she mentioned that they were in the process of switching to complete digital records, and I'm like, okay, I'll buy that was still maybe 2003. I'll buy that was still transitional. Okay, fair enough.
It's weird having seen the smartphones though.
That's true. That's true. They've got smartphones, but the libraries are still transitioning to digital databases.
Yeah, because the librarian was like, "Oh, people will just be able to look up anything they want. Don't like this." I'm like, "Do you not have smartphones?
I mean, they might not have internet on the smartphones, I suppose.
Then what's the point of having a smartphone? That is just a phone."
Because there's all things you can do on it on the
My
screen.
ancient Nokia could have the internet on it. I mean, it was really shit, and it would take forever to load anything. But technically, it had a browser.
I'm just saying maybe it doesn't have like a just Google Chrome like on the smartphone. Maybe it's got a touch screen like a modern smartphone, but it still only has basic call and texting abilities.
What a waste of software. What a waste of hardware. Like, why? Why would you have such a brick?
Yeah, but it's impossible for you to, if the technology had went in that order, you wouldn't be having these questions when it came out.
I'd just be questioning the purpose.
Well, then I said the same thing when the iPad came out. I don't understand what a tablet was for. I thought it was pointless. And then they put comics on it, and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, okay, all right, I'm in."
No, see, I always understood the point of a tablet is it's a single screen basic computer essentially.
Yeah.
Whereas, again, it has the internet. This is if you're telling me it's a phone with advanced features because clearly it has advanced features with the screen and the design. What are those advanced features if they're not using Google?
Oh, we got GPS. They got stopwatch. They got clocks and things on it.
Again, 95% of this I can do on my old Nokia.
Yeah, but this is from the time period where that's what you're using. This is just better, and then it has a better screen with a nicer interface.
No. I would argue that it's significantly worse in that I could do all of that on a Nokia that fit in my pocket much nicer than any of this.
Who cares? I don't care.
I think it's showing that this is probably the most interesting thing to me about this episode.
Okay, you're so obsessed with a stupid smartphone.
I am. They shouldn't have shown it me.
Look, it is what it is. And there's also a bit of a cop out as well with the detective Anatole. He was kidnapped in the last one. We thought it was the SB, but it was actually Uncle and his gang who are wanting to question him about what he's digging into. And it turns out he's got a history with the police captain, and she actually wants to escape and leave herself. So she feels bad for setting him up because she's like, "Oh, I didn't know they were going to do that. I just told them where you were going." So she's not as malicious as she first seemed to be at the end of the last episode. So I suppose that's the thing.
Makes her less interesting, though, doesn't
it? Yeah. Well, it's a whole thing because we find out they have a history. She makes him give you back his keys, and then later on she gives him the keys back.
Yeah.
When he's going to investigate things, and we have I think. Do you know what? If you want to like really show what's wrong with this episode or this show in general, is there's a scene in the middle where the higher ups of Poland have got these new plans, this new legislation, and someone who's working for Effie and co. Well, it may not be them specifically, but someone who's resisting in some way.
Yes.
Is inside, and he's supposed to take the document straight to the safe. And I get why this is hard copy, obviously, because you can hide hard copies. You can't. It's easier to hide them.
Yes, it's offline.
You can put it in a safe. Yes, that's the beauty of paper. But on his way, he nips into a little photocopier scanner, and he puts on a computer, and he puts in a disc. Which, by the way, I never saw him eject that disc. I thought he left the room with the disc still in the drive. Maybe I was dozing off at that point, but I don't remember him taking the disc out.
I don't remember seeing it, but I also watched this 2 days ago because I had to wait for you to not fall asleep.
That's right. Do you know what's funny though? This is very off the air though, because I remember storing data on CDs and DVDs in this time period. Because this is before USB sticks. I remember doing this.
Yeah, I do too.
And before like cloud storage was like easy to use and accessible.
Cloud storage is so much better.
So, but no, so we've got this scene where he's like, racing against the clock, trying to do this as quickly as possible so that he doesn't get caught. And, and it ends with him getting out of the room and just putting it in the safe, and then the superior walks in and just, everything's normal. And I'm like, not a second of that was tense. I felt no suspense throughout that entire thing.
Yeah, that is the problem. That should be really tense, and you should be on edge of your seat stuff. And I think this is why this show's so disappointing, because the trailer looked slick. It looked like there was tension.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, obviously, you can cut anything for a trailer if it can be done. But still, I expected more.
Yeah, the scene just was lacking. It wasn't there, which sucks because
Yeah.
But I think that's a good one to point out because I can look at that and say I can see exactly what this is supposed to feel like, and I'm not feeling any of it. So, and why am I feeling that? Part of it's in the pacing of the scene. Part of it is in I have very little context for what this is, who this character is, who he's working for.
It's also notably a scene that has no language barrier. Like sometimes some things can get lost in translation. The subtitles.
Sure, yeah, this is silent.
Yeah. This is visual filmmaking, and that's where it's failing.
Yeah. And if you don't have that, then you're not left with a whole lot. Now, obviously, some creators can get. I mean, like something written by Sorkin can get away with not having great filmmaking because it's all in the dialogue, right?
Yeah.
But if you don't have that, if you're relying on all the elements to make the thing work, and a lot of it's not, then that's to say that other stuff is working because I still don't think the characters are that interesting. Like this one, because I felt this was worse than the first one because the first one left me okay. It teased some ideas, it left me some promise, but as often with shows, and this was the worry, is that often 2 and 3 will slow down and like settle into a more steady pace. And the problem is when you think one's kind of bordering on kind of dull and boring, it means 2 and 3 are probably going to be worse.
Yeah, and I mean it's worth noting this is 10 minutes or so shorter than episode 1. So I know we said episode 1 definitely should not have been a full hour.
It felt longer, to be honest.
It did. I'm pretty sure it was only 50 minutes.
Yeah, it was 50 minutes, yeah.
But Jesus, it didn't feel like it.
No. So, yeah, obviously we're not doing any more. I think it's pretty clear from the way we're speaking that we have no intention of watching any more. What made this worse to watch as well is that I kind of, 10 minutes into it, I felt this way. I realised that we weren't watching anymore, which made getting through the extra 40 minutes a little bit tedious because I knew
I felt the same.
I knew it was kind of like, well, the choice is already made. This is one maybe we should have called after one episode, but I wanted to give it a chance. So
it's because it's quiet right now.
It's because it's quiet, yeah.
If we'd been in a busy period, this would never have got past episode 1.
No, but it's an 8-episode show. We've watched a quarter of it, and yeah, I have very little desire. There's a whole thing where the guy who gets the disc eventually gets assassinated by someone. Who's the assassin working for? Is this for Effie? Is this the government taking it back because they're onto things? I don't know.
Yeah, I think in terms of interesting plot, for me, I guess it was the stuff with the photo. It's like, okay, who are all these people? They're all connected at this wedding, so they're all part of the same friendship group.
One thing that wasn't really made clear until this episode is that we don't actually know who that wedding is, like who the wedding was for, like who's getting married that day, because they're questioning that in this episode, and he's like wanting to know, is like whoever it was important because this guest list is pretty extreme.
Yeah, obviously we're not finding out, but money on his parents.
Oh yeah, very very possibly, yeah. Could be, and again, I'm sure it'll all tie into like what happened in 83.
Yeah, I think the impression here is okay, these are all people who suddenly when it all went down had really high positions in the new government. So I mean, I guess the obvious implication is that okay, were they behind it, and they manipulated it from the start so that they could get the power that they wanted.
Yeah, it's been presented as like the radical opposite are doing this, but it was actually an inside job, so we could like use that to fearmonger everyone into doing what we want. Yeah, but I don't care.
I thought that was the most interesting stuff, but it's not enough to make me stick around.
The sad truth is that by the end of episode 2, I just don't care about anything that's going on. I care less than I did in episode 1. It made me kind of almost resent the time that it wasted. So
yeah.
So now we're done with it. We're done with 1983, which is a shame. We're hoping we'd like it. On the upside, though, coming this Friday, we have Travelers coming back.
Yeah, now that we're excited for. We are.
Next Friday, not this Friday. Next Friday.
Oh man, you just You just brought me
It's the
down.
14th. The 14th has Travelers, has Sabrina Christmas Special, has even that Tideland show, the mermaid thing. We'll try that too.
Yeah.
Netflix bringing the content in the 14th, but today not so much.
Oh well, we'll find something else to do for a week.
But yeah, so let us know what you thought of the episode. Let us know what you thought of the rest of the show if you've been watching it. But that is us. So thank you very much once again for watching. If you want to support the show, you can do that on Patreon at patreon.com/MailedFuzzTV. Like and subscribe, usual things if you want to show your support and help and everything else. But that is us. So thank you once again. We'll see you next time. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?